Hello everyone, I am welcoming you all once again to this channel. Today I am going to make a video on the calculation of the Curie temperature using our VASP software. So for that, here first I have searched in the Google that Curie temperature calculation using VASP. Then I have found some of this ResearchGate discussion over this, and here many such authors have provided so much different opinion, and I found that this one is someone is telling that Curie temperature can be calculated by using the mean field approximation formula and all. And what I have found that from here we only need the energy of the antiferromagnetic system and the ferromagnetic system, like the ferromagnetic calculation and antiferromagnetic calculation for the same system, then only we can found this TC value. So for that, so I have tried to do some calculation, then which I will go to I'm going to show over here. Okay, and okay, so before going ahead, let me just first summarize what is Curie temperature. So this Curie temperature is nothing but a temperature above which the ferromagnetic material loses its spontaneous magnetization and it becomes paramagnetic. So simply we can say that below TC the spins of those material can align along and it will behave like the ferromagnetic material, and above TC the spins will get distorted and it will become paramagnetic. Okay, now to do this calculation, here I have taken the Fe structure, and here is the unit cell of that. First I am going to open the structure of that of the atom that I have taken here. So you see that this is nothing but the BCC structure of the Fe atom, and we are only having two atoms. So like the contribution from the kernel is coming as one, and the body centered atom is another one. Okay, and now also here I can show you that this is the simple postcard, and using this I have taken this as the INCAR file just to optimize this structure. So here I have taken a very simple optimization input tags, and here you see that we have only taken the I spin 2 which will switch on the spin polarization calculation, and also we have taken this maximum value as 2.2. I will tell you that why I have chosen such specific values for maximum and all, that also I will tell you, and other comments are very much familiar to us, that's why I am not going to explain all those. So here you can see that first, if we will talk about the isolated atoms and ions, then what we can see in that atoms or ions, like we can see that the electrons are localized in that case, and it will also obey the Hund's rule, and the spin only formula is valid for here. And in this kind of atoms or ions, we can calculate the magnetic moment using this formula, where the mu is equal to under root of n whole into n plus 2, and all this is in the Bohr magneton unit. And if we will come to the species as Fe as the atom, then with this configuration, then we will have 4 unpaired electrons which will give the magnetic moment as 4.2 mu b, 4.9 mu b. And similar way, if we will see for Fe2 plus Fe3 plus, this much values we will get. Suppose like for any kind of isolated atom, this range of this magnetic moment we can take it from 4 to 6 mu b. Okay, but what happens if we have taken such kind of Fe metal? Like here I have made one comparison table, where one side we are having atomic Fe or Fe plus 3 plus, and other side we have this BCC Fe metal. And here in the atomic Fe, the localized electrons are like this. These are the localized electrons, like all the 3D electrons are localized in the atomic case, but here these 3D bands are delocalized. Here in the case of metal, these electrons have no such role, rather we are only going ahead with the bands, like the 3D bands of this Fe metal. Then here it will have in the atomic section, it will have the integer electron count, but in the metal it will have the fractional band filling. And similar way, the spin only formula is valid for atomic case, but it is invalid in case of metal and all. And similar way, we can have the range of the magnetic moment from 4 to 6 mu b, but in this case this value we can take as 2.2 mu b, nearly this 2.2. But why this value 2.2 I have taken, that I will show you in the next slide. So here, so if we will compare from this to this, we are having a less value of 2.7. So where did the other 2.7 mu b goes? So that we will see here. So in the metallic Fe, what happens? Like the majority spin up and minority spin down bands overlap. Okay, and some electrons that would be unpaired in an atom, now they can be hybridized, delocalized, and it will also show a lower kinetic energy. So such system sacrifices a part of the Hund's rules moment to reduce the band energy. So this is where this 2.7 mu b goes. Okay, and in the BCC Fe metal, as we have chosen this as our structure, the spin resolved electron counts are approximately like for spin up it is this kind of like nearly 5.1, and for spin down it is nearly 2.9. So their difference is giving us this 2.2 mu b value, and that's why we have used here this magnetic momentum as 2.2. Magnetic moment as 2.2. And this value, from where all this value came? So this value came from the spin polarized DFT calculation, and it is also confirmed by the experimental neutron diffraction experiment, and this is independent of initial magnetism. So whenever you will use any kind of magnetic moment, so you will always get this value. That's why this value is already predefined. So I have used this 2.2 mu b value for this calculation. Okay. And another important thing here, that even if I have chosen this Fe as our major like main atom, but still I have not used this DFT plus U calculation in this case, which you know that which will add one Hubble correction part into our calculation, that I have not chosen. So why that is? So why I have not taken that? Because DFT plus U was not employed for BCC Fe, since the magnetism is itinerant and it is well described with the standard GGA. So as we can describe this using standard GGA, so there is no employment of DFT plus U in this case. But if your system requires that, you can also take that, no issue. And how to use this DFT plus U and all, that I have already shown in our previous videos. You can go and check that what kind of tags you need to include in the OUTCAR file when you are performing DFT plus U kind of calculation. Okay, so with this, and here simply I have set the K point value as this gamma grids, and these are with 15 K grids, and with this here we have our optimized result. Now I am going to open the OUTCAR file that I have saved after this optimization. So here you can see like there is a difference between the initial postcard. So the lattice constant initially was 2.86, and after doing a full optimization along the atomic position and the volume as well we have included. So the value we found as 2.8323 like that. Okay, so now this is optimized, and next from this optimized OUTCAR, what we have performed? We have performed the supercell, like we have made this a supercell. So you can simply go to this edit data unit cell, and here that supercell I have taken as 222, like it's a 2x2x2 supercell along all the three directions, and simply you can save this file. Suppose I am saving it to new, so you can save it. I have already done that, but just to show I am doing that again. Okay, so now this new VASP I can open. So this is like 2 by 2 by 2, and here if you can check that we are having only 16 atoms right now, because initially we are having 2 and now we did the elongation along all the 3 direction twice. So 2 to 2 is 8 and 2 atoms, that's 16 now. Okay, so now this is done. So with this, here what I did, here I have optimized the same input like the Supercell, and you can also see the INCAR tag is also exactly similar. Only the changes we have made on this K point value. So initially that K point value was 15 15 15 and now the grid is 7 7 7, because as we have elongated, similar way we have to reduce our K space values. Okay, so this part is done, and after that here what I have found is the contour for the Supercell, and this is just a very quick calculation, and within just a single step I got this optimization. So you see that just a single SCF calculation is done to got this. Okay, and so after that what I did, so after optimizing this Supercell, I went forward with calculation of this AFM energy and the ferromagnetic energy. So here I did the magnetic calculation, one with this AFM and one for this FM. So first I am going to this ferromagnetic calculation over here, and here the postcard file I have taken from the Supercell optimization, and you can also see that this is the same contour after optimizing the Supercell, which I have found is used as a postcard here. And next in the INCAR tag, some changes we have made, because as we already have the input, already have the optimized Supercell, so we don't want to go and again optimize the same, rather we just want to do a single NSW calculation over here. So here only that's why we have taken this NSW as 0, that is the ACF calculation we are going to do over here. That is just a static calculation, and here all other parameters remain same, and I have also given this ISIF equal to 2 just to fix the cell volume, and also IBRION equal to -1 because we don't want to do any NSW, and all other parameters are exactly same. Okay, so with this what I have found as the in the output as like what we want is the energy which we have found from this OUTCAR. Okay, so the energy for this ferromagnetic calculation we got as this much. So I am first taking and copying this. Yeah, so this is the energy of the ferromagnetic calculation. Now let's go and also do a check for the antiferromagnetic calculation. So here in the antiferromagnetism calculation, same postcard we have used, that we have found from the Supercell optimization, and in the INCAR the only changes is this line. So here what I have taken, like as we are having 16 atoms of Fe here, first 8 atoms we have given the value of the magnetic moment as 2.2, and the next 8 atoms Fe atoms we have given the value of the magnetic moment as -2.2. That means like half of the atoms are in the positive taking the positive magnetic moment, and half of the atoms are taking negative magnetic moment. So this is the calculation, that is this is how it is different from the ferromagnetic, where all the atoms are only having this 2.2 magnetic moment value, and this is the only difference just to distinguish between ferromagnetic and antiferromagnetic. Okay, so this part is done, and now with this I have got the result, and similar kind of thing we have performed, like just a simple NSW calculation. And here I am opening now the AFM OUTCAR to see the energy. Now you see this is the energy that we have found from the AFM calculation, and here we will try to get their difference. Okay, so this is the difference that we have got after the calculation. Actually we should take this AFM first, then this one, so then we can get a positive number, so that's okay. Okay, now let's come to our slide. Now we have already discussed that why we have taken this much value. Now the next part is to calculate. Okay, so here is the calculation of TC. So how to calculate that? As we have seen in this case, that how to calculate that, we can use this mean field approximation formula. So here I have also used the same formula, that this TC is equal to 2 delta E by 3x kb, and here x is nothing but the number of atoms in the magnetic atoms in the supercell, and in our case it is 16. And this kb is the Boltzmann constant, and the value of the kb in terms of EB per Kelvin is 8.617 into 10 to the power minus 5 EB per Kelvin. And this delta E here is nothing but the energy of AFM minus energy of AFM, like the antiferromagnetic energy minus ferromagnetic energy difference. And after this, after putting all these number, and as I have calculated this value, like this is the AFM and this is the AFM, so I got the number as 7.27 and all. So after putting all these number into this equation, I found that this TC value as this much. So what I have seen, that in the case of experimental Fe calculation, the value for this TC for Fe is 1043 Kelvin, and but in this case I found the value as this much. So the only drawback I found by performing this TC calculation using the VASP is this AFM overestimates the TC value. So I don't know, maybe there might be some other approximation which we can use to calculate this TC, but this is the way how we can calculate the energy of the ferromagnetic and antiferromagnetic here, as I have shown in this case. And so before going ahead with the similar calculation, I also would like to tell you that you first validate that which approximation or which formula you should use to find the accurate TC value for your system. Then you can go ahead with the calculation and all. Okay, so this much for today's video, and thank you all, and bye bye.